the mirror, I would be able to see my own worth and the power that I hold in my mind and soul, and that I'm capable of doing whatever I wish for. Amazing, isn't it? Looking at our guest, I can clearly see the amount of truth these lines hold.
We're here today to celebrate powerful women in the corporate industry. We have a lineup of amazing speakers today who are here to talk to you about their struggles in navigating the tech, health, and the corporate world in general, and how they ended up starting their own companies and reaching the top, climbing the top of the ladder. There's just so much to hear from their struggles and to learn from them. So keep your ears open and enjoy.
Yeah, you can start.
Yeah. So let's start with the introduction of our first main speaker, Mrs. Lalita. Mrs. Lalita is currently working as a senior director, leading the consulting service organization in Cerner Healthcare Solutions India Private Limited. She is an inspiring leader and a detail-oriented technology executive with over 27 years of work experience in the domain of software products. She has built organizations from ground zero and traversed through the complete spectrum of technology landscape, ranging from client-server software to the cloud-based software as a service, and delivered high-quality enterprise software products across the domain. Prior to Cerner, she worked in IBM for nearly 8 years and in Siemens for 12 years. She is also faculty in Computer Science Department of Manipal Institute of Technology. She has delivered an open electrical curriculum on topic of healthcare IT aimed at bridging the gap between academic and healthcare IT industry. She is a Goodwill Ambassador of NGO Anudit Foundation, where she is volunteering and reaching out to organizations to secure CSR support for their programs and student placements. She is an electronic engineer graduate from Bangalore University. I would ask you to come and introduce.
Thank you. Thanks. The presentation.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll see if I need. Am I audible clearly? Okay, good.
Come forward, Lalita.
Yeah.
The slides.
And I'll do the slides. Yeah. Yeah. So good morning, everyone. My name is Lalita. I'm currently in the role of a senior director with Cerner Healthcare Solutions. So what we do in Cerner is essentially build software for the healthcare industry. It's a US-based company, about 40 plus years. And we build products, services, solutions for the healthcare domain to meet the clinical needs, operational needs, or financial needs. It could be for a hospital, it could be for a clinician, pharmacy, whatever, right? So that's what we do in Cerner. To start off talking about my career journey, I wanted to start with this picture. What you see here is a bunch of people climbing a hill, right? I think in Pune, you're all blessed with hills all around. So I visited Pune several times. I had my sister-in-law's house in Baner, so I've climbed the Baner hills. There are so many guts in the gut. I don't know what all guts are around, right? So you're all very familiar with trekking, right? Climbing. And I think career journey is very much analogous to a journey like this, right? To climbing a hill. It all starts with where do you want to go, right? It could be that you want to climb this green hill, or it could be that you want to go climb that snow-capped mountain there, right? Starting with where do you want to go is the first and foremost point, right? The path that you take doesn't matter, right? You could be a rock climber who will just go straight up like this, or you could be someone who loves the nature, who takes a zigzag path, stands, clicks photos around, and then make progression, right? All that matters is that progress. Not really how fast are you running, what are you doing. It's all about the discovery and learning and the paths that you take. Trust me, after 28 years, the paths, the pace doesn't matter. All that matters is what you're discovering, what you're learning, and then ultimately, you will reach that peak, right? So with that story, I'll start off with my introduction already. Yeah, she covered most of it. I'm basically an electronics engineer with about 28 years of experience, spanning across the software product domain. A little bit about myself. My hobbies is I love my work. I don't look at work as work. right? I enjoy doing it every day. That's why I've been around for the last 28 years. I love my work. I love spending time with my two kids. I have a 19-year-old son studying currently in Canada. My daughter is 15. She's entering high school now. It's lovely time that I can spend with them. I love traveling. I haven't got to do much of it in the last 2 years. I was very happy I could start traveling this year. I love doing photography, writing travelogues as well. I've traveled extensively in Western Europe, and if anybody is interested, I've written a sightseeing guide for the Western Europe as my travelogue. I love volunteering. That gives me a lot of positive vibes. So I've been working for the cause of the disabled. So I was earlier associated with an NGO called Enable India, where I used to work with them to help train the disabled to make them employable or look for opportunities. Currently, I'm a Goodwill Ambassador with the foundation called Untitled, where my role is essentially to help them in CSR funding and placement. So what we do within Untitled Mission is take engineering students from tier 2, tier 3 cities, right? They would have already completed, but they're not yet job ready for the corporate. So what we do is make them go through a training program which covers communication skills and as well as the software programming, help them navigate the journey of corporate sector and get them jobs. So that's what we do. So with that background, I'll talk about the different milestones, and I think it's mostly the women, especially in the Indian context, who always look at their career journey and both these together, right? You'll know why I put both professional and personal. And I think both of them have influence on one another. And as you go through that journey, your professional life will impact your personal life, and what you do in your personal life will impact. And that's why I wanted to kind of bring this perspective together. And it's nothing like something is good or bad, but this is how life is. And the more we look at it that way, the easier we can navigate, through your career journey. Right. So I started off as an engineer, writing programs in a language called Pascal. Probably no longer exists. Yeah. So this was in the Siemens communication software. We were building telecom network management systems. So that's where I started my journey in the corporate world. And then those days there was a big need to lead teams very early. This was the beginning of the software industry in India. Right. So they made me a manager within 4 years. Like I had to take care of a team, lead the team, and become a manager. And that's a company where I met my husband as well. So we got married in 2000, which I keep referring as the Y2K problem. Those of you heard what is the Y2K problem, right? And then first kid, my son arrived, and after that, when he was about a year or so, we got an opportunity. He got an opportunity to go work in Germany, the parent center of Siemens, and that was the time where I was thinking that, what do I want to do in life? Right. So my son is 1.5 years old. Thought, let me. What is it that I want to do? And there was an opportunity to go. I had an opportunity to go work in Siemens Germany because I was still an employee there. But I thought, let me take a break, try to figure out what is it that I want to do. Right. Stayed there for about 2 years. I did not figure out what to do at the end of 2 years. But what I did figure out is what I don't want to do. Many times the path that we take, right, might not give you all the answers, but at least it will tell you what not to do. You can eliminate, the options. I realized that how much ever I love my son, my kid, my family, I cannot be a stay-at-home mom. So I didn't want to, so I came back to work. So I came back to work after 2 years. And when I came back to work, it was back to Siemens, right, my earlier company. By then, the company had changed quite a bit. Siemens had become Nokia Siemens, and a lot of management changes. And I was coming back after a 2 years break. And at that time, looking at women coming back from break was like, is she really serious about work? She still has a kid to take care at home. Her husband is working. Maybe this is time pass job for her. Right? That's how the reactions were. And I was all there to, give me challenging work. I want to do it. I want to learn. I want to grow, which I did not get, right, in Siemens. So I said, okay, let me now look elsewhere. So IBM was starting off their Java Technology Center in the Software Labs division. So where I got an opportunity to lead the team and set up the team from ground zero. So you mentioned about starting teams from ground zero. That's where I started that journey. And then in 2 years later, my second kid arrived, right? After that, at that time, we never had this working from home option. So I was staying at a place where I had to go commute for an hour, work in an office which was very far and his kid was very young. So I thought after 1 year of struggle of commuting, let me look for another option which is close by, because IBM had offices all over Bangalore. I'm sure here Pune as well, right? Ozone is where IBM, Hinjwada is where I think their office is. So they had offices everywhere. So I looked for an office which was close to home because I wanted to reduce the commute time. And then they said, I don't have a development team responsibility, but there's a system team. Do you want to lead it? I thought, why not? After 15 years of doing development, let me go figure out what it is to lead a testing team. So that's how I took up this role as a test manager. And that was a very interesting journey for another 3 years. I kind of grew again, got an opportunity to set up a functional testing organization for IBM Power Systems, which is what Watson is built on. If you've heard of Watson, so we did the firmware development testing for that in India for my team, right? So post that, 2014 is pivoting to Cerner happened. So I got an opportunity to become an executive in Cerner India. This was to start and establish the footprint of a completely new organization, right? And this was something I started with about 21 people in 2014. And now I kind of grew it over 7 years, 35x times. So 700 people in the organization handling variety of responsibilities, depth-wise, breadth-wise, right? So this was a combination of engineering organization and consulting for our SaaS products. And now currently what I do is I've completely pivoted to the consulting side and focusing on all the products consulting services. So if you look from my career journey perspective, I started with the monolithic client solver software, which you won't hear much. Now it's a microservices world. So what we do currently, this product is all on big data, cloud-based offerings, developed on microservices, your React, Node.js, whatever, right? The terms that you're very familiar with. From a domain perspective, I've switched between telecom, server software, and healthcare domain, right? So it's been a lot of shifts. Again, if you just look at the application stack, from application layer to the OS layer to the firmware layer, I didn't touch the hardware processor layer, right? But pretty much all the other layers, right? So that's been my journey. What has helped me? I just wanted to talk about 3 different things, which I believe has helped me in my journey, right? First of all is the courage to lead. I think everything starts with that courage to lead, courage not to succumb to mediocrity. And I think every beginning is from there. And then onwards, your leadership skills, networking skills, all of that will come. I'll just talk about my experience and share some tips. Yeah, and I'd like to hear your questions after that. So courage to lead, I want to talk about, starting with some examples from my career, is first of all to surround oneself with brightest minds. Right? It does take a lot of courage to accept that someone is better than you, right? And understand what is their plus point. Not feel inhibited or diffident and so on, right? Not feel that, oh, I'm in such a tough competition, I cannot handle this, When I joined Siemens, I was surrounded by all RECs, IITs, I'm from Bangalore University, right? And there's a class difference. But it was intimidating, trust me, it was intimidating to get into such an environment where everybody from all these tier 1 universities came in, but the learning that I got there, right? I could have just succumbed and, just withered off, but I kind of stood there and, learned a lot. And that will be a journey as you grow in your career as well. There will be a lot of bright minds around. Don't feel diffident or don't feel inhibited, intimidated, just be courageous, right? The next one is courage to not bail out when the ship is sinking. There will be many moments. It can be at any scale. An example from Siemens is when I became a manager, I was also a release coordinator for one of our major products, which was to go to the telecom, German telecom. We had to deploy this product about 150 centers all over Germany. So the product went through what we call as a user acceptance test and it bombed. Right? It was a big failure. I was the release coordinator, managing it across 6 different zones, 6 different centers. It was a big failure. And then that was actually, we were looking at, do we need this product? Do we have to withdraw it? Do we have to go back to the old one? It was almost a sinking ship. Then I said, no, as the release manager, I'll put it back, I'll let it sail through. right? So what I did was set up a special task force, got all people together. Next 1.5 years, we worked non-stop to get through the next one. And trust me, even till today, when somebody asks me, what was your biggest failure, biggest success, this is the story that I will tell. Right? And you will remember, you will learn a lot from all of this, so never give up when things go bad, right? The next one is courage to know the end, not know the end results and still move ahead. So many times I think in your team's opportunity, your manager or team lead will say, hey, are you willing to do this proof of concept? Or do you want to do this? You might not know anything about it. It might be in a completely new technology. Just raise your hand. It's okay. You move ahead. Go have the courage. Go ahead. You might know 20% of it. Trust me, you'll figure out the remaining 60, 70%. Nobody will know 100%. Right? So IBM, that was my journey. IBM is a company of companies. So I joined in as a development manager in one of the unit, but I had opportunity after some journey to start off. They said, you seem to have a lot of that. And I told my manager, I want to grow, I want to do more. And she said, do you want to set up another team? Which is completely unrelated to what you're doing. But if you're interested, you can. I just said, yeah, I will do it. It was a retail software solutions. I grew that, set up the team, grew it from scratch in parallel to what I was doing. And that is what actually gave me the next career move. You'll never know what you're getting into will result, right? There's this, just go by this thing of, karmani vadikaraste na paleshu kadacha. That's the philosophy that's been guiding, right? You don't know what results will come. Just go ahead, do it, and things will happen. It will all fall in place. But you need that courage to go ahead, right, and do it, and courage to pivot. This I'll give an example from Cerner. I joined in August 2014. October is when I went to US to meet my counterparts because I was setting up this ground from, this organization from ground zero. And this was the first time that footprint was being established in India. And when I went there to US to understand how different teams work and everything, they said, we've never worked with remote teams. We just walk across the cubicles, talk to them, and this is how we work. I don't know how we're going to work 12 hours apart, right? And so everybody that I met in that first visit, they said, we don't know. They just said, like, we'll try it out. And that was not at all encouraging for someone who has newly joined the company, has to newly set up. But trust me, that actually challenged me more. I took the courage, set it up. And like I said, in 7 years, we grew 35x times, 21 people to 700 people. So that's the pivoting journey one can do, right? This was mostly about courage to lead. I just want to pause and let you think on what is that you want to be courageous about. Each one has their own journey with that, right? I'll move on to leadership. That's the next one. This is essentially a compilation of different skills, which I think is necessary. These are qualities of a leader. Whether you want to continue in the technical track as an individual contributor, or whether you want to be a manager, lead a set of people, I think these qualities will help. So I'm just a compilation of that and wanted to talk about that a bit. So first and foremost, I think quality that's needed to become a leader is excellence. And excellence, when I say, it starts with knowledge. Like, you need to be known to be knowledgeable or a deep expert in one thing. So I think the knowledge, building that expertise is the starting point. Nobody can become a leader with shallow knowledge. Deep knowledge, deep expertise is very, very crucial. So that's where your knowledge will come. The wisdom part is, anybody know the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Want to take a shot? What is wisdom? What is knowledge? Knowledge I explained already. There's nothing. Yeah, please.
Yeah, knowledge is just knowing, wisdom is applying.
Yeah, also applying, but also very good. Yeah, but to a good extent, also knowing what you don't know is wisdom. You know that I know X, Y, Z, but you also know that I don't know ABC, and you know that someone else is an expert in ABC. That's the wisdom. And it takes a lot to do that introspection that, hey, I'm good in this, but I don't know this. That's when somebody is becomes a wise person. So with all this knowledge, what you do as a leader next is essentially understand the big picture. Have a long-term view, and that's where you create vision as leaders. And this, I think, is very, very applicable at whatever. I know your average experience here is about 2.7 or 3 years and so on. At every stage of your career, having the bigger picture and long-term view, I think, is very much necessary. If you're working in a module, you can have the vision for that module. right? If you get a defect or a bug, understanding the bigger picture, seeing the dependencies between modules, and making sure that it's going to be a foolproof solution is what you're actually creating the vision for the product. Instead of going and putting a band-aid, some quick bug fix is a very short-sighted view, right? I see a lot of heads nodding like under time pressure, you just go fix something and then the code breaks. That's not having a long-term view of the software, right? And so that with the deep excellence, I think you can create vision for whatever you do, right? And then once you have that vision, I think very important for a leader is to communicate that vision. You as a team member might have a vision. How well can you communicate to your team leader? Or you as a manager have a great vision for your whole team. And how well can you communicate to your executive? It's all depending on your communication skills. So one of the very important things of leadership skills is communication. How well can you communicate it? How well can you make it in a language that is understandable by the receiver, not your language? You need to understand what that person understands, what words appeal to that person, and most importantly, know that communication is bi-directional. The most important part of communication is listening. So we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Talk less, listen more. Listen in the meetings to understand what is it that people are looking for, right? And even in a conversation with your manager, if you're trying to explain something, don't be in a hurry to just answer back. Listen, then answer back. Give that importance to communication. Once you've communicated the vision, then as I say, if you're a team leader, right, empowering your team is very, very important. That's how you grow your, as a leader, that you alone cannot do everything. Believe in the teamwork, empower your team, delegate who can do what. But after delegating, you just don't give up, right? You guide the team, you become a mentor, you become a coach. Maybe a fresher joins your team, right? You might tell him, hey, do such a module, but you're still expected to mentor, guide, and coach that person. And in that journey, yeah, you will get success. You will definitely get success when you're working together and executing on that vision. Very important for leaders to remember is the humility. Being non-egotist. It's the we that comes in any success. You have to look at your language when you're communicating in a team or in an email, or say you have an idea and you want to share it with your manager, superior, and probably you've discussed it with a colleague, copying that person together and say, so and so and I discussed this idea, what do you think of it? You are being non-egotist here, right? You have that humility and you're giving the due credit. So even as I say, you're a team leader, your team achieves something. You got a success, give the credit to the right people. Trust me, then your team will follow you and do anything for you. But if you say that there are leaders who when there is trouble, they'll point to the team and say, my team messed up, and then they go shout at the team. When there is a success, say, I did it. That is not a leader. That leader will never, ever grow. Right? That's going to be a very, very short term. And in all these roles, perseverance is very important. You'll not get success always. So having that never give up attitude, enthusiasm is super important. And last but not the least is the emotional intelligence. A lot of us talk about technical acumen, technical skills, soft skills. The biggest component of soft skills is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is what will take you ahead in your career. You can keep learning all the business knowledge, the domain knowledge, technical knowledge, and all of that. And emotional intelligence is you're born with some amount of it, but you can grow also some amount of it. So that's something which will help you know yourself and your team and connect. That is what's going to help you connect to your team members as human beings. If you're a team lead, if your team member is not someone to whom a Jira is allocated, right? So and so is working on Jira numbers. That is not connection. It's really understanding what that person wants, what the person is interested in, what the person's career goals are, what are the motivators for each individual. If you know these things, you can be a wonderful leader, right? You can grow into a wonderful leader. So this was all about the leadership skills part. So I'll move to the last section, which is about networking skills, which was my last mantra that I mentioned. This, I think, has helped me quite a bit in my career, and I'll see if I can cover some examples, but maybe I'll address any questions if you have it. I want to start with why networking. What I'm going to talk is about why networking. and how do you do it, and then some tips on how I have applied some techniques to diagnose and build, my network. Normally, networking is considered as an art. Some people are good at networking, right? That I don't think that's totally true. It comes naturally for some people, but I believe it's a science, and that's what I'm trying to put in the next few slides to explain that networking skills can be a science and need not be an art. Yeah. So let's first look at the purpose on why do you need networking? And in the industry, typically what is recommended that you grow up to be is a T-shaped leader. We say T-shaped, so you are an expert in one of the areas, you have the depth of expertise and understanding. If you really want to grow as a leader, what you need is that horizontal part, which is the breadth of knowledge and connections across the business, right? To do this, to become a T-shaped leader is why you need networking, because you cannot be an expert of everything, right? You need to know who is who so that you can connect with them, reach out to them, so that you can bring in the thought leadership. You cannot be a master of all. You can only be a jack of all trades. You can be an expert or master in one or two areas if you really want to have the depth. But you need to know what are those connected business. How do I make connections across? And that is what will help you become a thought leader, which will help you not only in your now, what you're doing today, but your next, the future as well, right? So let's look at a little bit about how do you build and sustain your networking. Essentially, you start with your why. Why do you want to network? You might hear from people like, hey, you have to network, or your manager will give you some feedback that you are not connecting to people. You need to network. You should have a why. You need to have a why. You can't just walk around like you can, of course. Networking can be at different levels, right? In the professional level, in a personal level. Right? You go into a party, you do network. You go, I'm not here, by the way, talking about your Facebook networking or Instagram networking, right? I mean, that's a very different virtual world. I'm talking about real life thing where also LinkedIn networking is a way of networking. Things have progressed quite a bit in the virtual world. Most of what I am talking is about real in-person networking. But these principles, I think you can apply in the virtual world, virtual connect as well. And I think you are all the experts on the virtual world connecting than me, so I don't need to talk much about the virtual world. But here, what is important is you start with your why, know who's who, and then kind of build sustainable relationship. To know your why, these are just some areas, steps for you to see. Your why could be any of these four, right? You might want to say you are a React.js expert and you want to learn AngularJS. I'm just giving as an example, right? And that's your professional development need. And you would want to then figure out who is the AngularJS expert here, right? Or who is some other expert. I want to do some memory optimization. I want to learn about that. It could be that, or a personal development. Say I'm good at yoga. I want to learn badminton, right? When I want to pick up something else. Strategic. If you're, say, a team leader, you're working on certain components, certain products, and you want to expand it, or you have an idea to build another product. So that's a strategic why. Then you need to know whom to connect to. Right? Or an operational. You just say you're recruiting for your team. You want basically to bring in the right candidates into your team. That's your operational need. So the why can be any of this, right? And then you look at who is that person who's internally available or externally available, and then you go about building relationships, right? Here, just some tips on when you meet in person. As I said again, virtual world, you're all the experts, but when you meet in person, these are just things that I've listed, like when you meet a person, start with a smile. Even the virtual meetings, right? Smile is such a beautiful thing that we have as human beings that immediately connects people. Most of the time in the virtual meetings, people don't even switch on the video. How do you connect to people, right? First, request them to switch on your video, say if you're having a virtual connect, and then smile, right? When that really builds that thing. And confidently introduce yourselves and say, if you're meeting them for the first time, introduce yourself, say what you're doing, and what's your area of expertise. And then strike the common ground. To strike the common ground, you need to do some background work before you meet a person, right? Look at their LinkedIn profile or their Facebook profile or Instagram post or whatever, right? To understand what is it. and maybe there'll be something common. And when you figure out what are those common things, your conversations becomes very easy, right? And then you state your purpose crisply. No, wishy-washy, talking up, beating around the bush, and so on. Say that, hey, I'm doing this. I want to do this. Can you help in that? And also listen and empathize. Ask them in their work based on your common ground analysis. If you figure out they're an expert in that certain area, you can ask them what is the biggest problem you are solving or you're currently working on. Because everybody wants to share. See, the whole networking concept, it's about giving and taking, right? It's not just you go talk to somebody to get something from them, but you need to forge that connection on a two-way thing. And then you need to forge the connection on periodic interactions. Many times people connect and then they forget. And what has helped me personally is to actually set up those connects regularly, right? It could be monthly, it could be once in 2 months or a quarterly. Maybe sometimes you don't have anything to talk or discuss, you cancel it. But having that periodic connect or schedule on your calendar, on their calendar, will make sure that you will meet. There will be, connections can be forged only by periodic interactions, right? It's not going to sustain beyond that, right? So I'll just give one example here in the Cerner context where I was leading an initiative within Cerner India to basically give our product managers, so Namrata is a technical product manager here, give an exposure to the real world use cases, how the users use the products, go live, support them, and so on. So sitting in India, we are very far from clients. Cerner doesn't have clients in India, but we have clients in Middle East. So I created this program based on a networking conversation. So I just will use that example to talk about. So I went to the Cerner Middle East office to meet the head of them because they have a lot of clients there. And I told that, hey, we have all these product experts. I did all this, my confident introduction, and then say we have you have all these products deployed in your client side. We have all these product experts in India, and I'm looking for opportunities for them to interact with clients. And then I asked them, what is it that you're working on? And listen. And he poured out and said, oh, the biggest problem we have is we have to go live in the next few months. We don't have the support coming in from US who are normally the ones who come in. But you say you have experts. Can you send your people? Right? Listening, asking made a big difference. And post that, I had around close to 140 India associates travel all over Middle East, be on the client side and kind of, do the support, get the knowledge, right? That relationship which I built in 2016, I still have because I have periodic connections. Now I'm in a new role in the consulting services. The leaders that I met then 6 years ago, they are able to recollect that, what it did to them. And now in my new role, it is helping. You never know all these networking investments are long term. Nothing will come, you just need them once, twice, and then magic won't happen. You need to keep building, working on it. And you can enhance it. To enhance it, this is again a little bit of a scientific tip on how to diagnose your network and how do you enhance it further. This is a practice you can just try. Just take a sheet of paper, write down who are all the contacts that you have. Right? You can do it for personal or professional things. That's your first column. The second one is who introduced you to that contact. If you yourself got introduced, you write it as me, or if somebody else introduced you, write it as whoever. And then in the last column, you write down to whom did you introduce that contact? Did you go further and expand that network? Right? Did you introduce that person to someone else? And when you just look at this, it could be that many times it will only come as me, self-reference. Right? I'm the one who is reaching out to everybody, and it's possible that. Or there could be some people like Mr. J, who are connecting you to many other people, and they are known as the super connectors. It's just an interesting exercise. Try it out and then see that if you're relying a lot on yourself, you will have a certain kind of network. There's nothing about good or bad here. If you're relying a lot on yourself, you will have a certain kind of network. If you're relying on some of the super connectors, maybe your reach will be very varied, very diverse network. Or if you yourself are that, like if you are a super connector, then you will be at the like the center of a cycle hub and spokes going around, all of that. Just as an exercise. But most of our networks, I believe, are built on 3 principles. These are the 3 principles. Self-similarity principle. We try to self-similarity principle is birds of the same feather flock together. Right? You're also from REC Warangal, I'm also from REC Warangal. So hire together, that happens many times, right? Like you, yeah. So and that's something for you to also watch out. If you're recruiting and so on, are you hiring someone like you is something you really need to watch out and not hire. Always hire someone who's much better than you. And again, when you're networking, are you connecting with the same kind of people? It will give you some cushion, it's comforting, it's nice, definitely. Not saying it's bad. But if you're only surrounded by people who think like you will not get the diversity of thoughts. Nobody will cross question you. If you're going to try something else, nobody will cross question you or say, hey, try something else. Right? So just that is one principle. Next is proximity principle. This is very prevalent, of course, when we are all meeting in office regularly together. So if you're in the same city, same building, then you try to meet together. But if somebody else is in a different city, a different building, then I have to go that far and I don't know. But now I think the distance, location, hindrance is gone, so everybody can connect wherever you want. Third one is the shared activity principle. Like say I like yoga, and then then you'll form a group, maybe in the Facebook or whatever, and that's how your groups gets formed. But if you want to expand and enhance your network, you can also look at what is the new activity I can start. Right? Maybe I'll start learning to play guitar, right? And then you'll meet another set of people. So that becomes your shared activity there. Like from a sales folks perspective, golf is a shared activity. You know that most deals, most companies are built on golf courses, right? So they have a shared activity through which they build their network and progress in their career. So I think that's essentially what I had about the three different things. The courage to lead, grow your enhance. Start with that courage, keep enhancing on your leadership skills, keep growing your networking skills. With that, I'm sure you'll have a very bright career future ahead. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you so much for the talk. There was so much to learn from you, and I'm sure everyone has a lot to think about after the talk. Again,
Is there any questions?
yeah, actually, if there are any questions, please do ask. Anyone, anything? Okay, I have a question. For women, at least in tech, there's a lot of imposter syndrome, even as students. Like I'm a third year student right now in computer science. There's a lot of imposter syndrome in general. How do you battle that? Or do you never get over it?
You will get over it. Knowing that you have an imposter syndrome is the starting point. Right? And you know that, and then, definitely it's just identifying that what is causing that. Right? And then you'll be able to overcome that. And trust me, actually in India, we have more women in technology, IT than anywhere else. In my company alone, the entry level engineers that we take, 60% are women. You go to any Indian colleges, just do the Indian engineering colleges, it's more than 50-60% are women. We're dominating them. So you don't have to feel like it. Yeah, definitely no need to feel definite at all about it. Yeah, you overcome it. It's like, I grew up in that generation where I kept talking about 94, right? I used to be only surrounded by male, sitting in a boardroom with only male, even now. Yeah, that's a different, yeah. But you will overcome it. It's just that you know your path, where you want to go, your hill, green hill or snow-capped mountain, and you keep going. That's it. You go at your pace. Thank you. Thank you all.
So now we have a video that will play.
Yeah.
It's by Lakshya Siva Ramakrishnan.
So Lakshya was our ex-WTM India lead, and we have a lot of memories with Lakshya because she was there with us for like 3-4 years, and we used to do in-person WTM IWD events. We used to do virtual. Last 2 years we had virtual IWD, and we have so much memories about her. So we just asked her, since she's in Bangalore and she was not able to come, so we asked her to share a message with us. Yeah, we can play that.
Lakshya Krishnan, and I worked as a technical program manager at Google. everyone. I'm Lakshya Krishnan and I work as a technical program manager at Google. My association with women tech makers has been for about 6 to 7 years now, and it's heartening to see how the community has been evolving year after year in getting together women and allies across the globe. This year, we've come together with a theme of progress, not perfection. And I would like to take this opportunity to wish all of you a happy International Women's Day month. The months of March and April are always special in getting together women and allies to celebrate the spirit of women in technology. So coming to the theme of progress, not perfection, it's so often that we strive for perfection, but forget to enjoy the little moments of progress that we make in this journey, right? So remember to celebrate all the little wins that we make. Focus on making incremental progress, that 1% improvement, and that will really take us closer to our end goal. With that, here's wishing you a happy International Women's Day and hope you have a great time at the event. Thank you.
Everyone, I would like to welcome Dr. Sajatha Malik, the CEO and Managing Director of Sunburst Healthcare. She's a doctor and healthcare management professional with more than 3 decades of experience. Can't wait to hear about her transition from being a doctor to taking the entrepreneurial road and starting her own company. Welcome.
Hello everyone, good morning to all of you. Nice to see, bright young faces around. Of course, I'm the youngest in the room, so that gives me another high. Most of you have, weren't born when I started my career, many of you. So, that kind of tells you, maybe I'm a dinosaur kind of a person anyway. Just to take you through my journey. So tech was farthest from my mind when I embarked on this professional journey of mine. So where did it all start?
Can you hear her?
Can you? I can talk louder.
There's a mic also down.
There is one fitted here. Are you able to hear me? Everyone? Yeah. So now, having heard somebody from the hardcore technology field and hearing about her experiences with her career, actually a lot of things ring true even through my journey. In fact, I was having a feeling of deja vu that these things happen to everybody and they are all similar. So I'm sure as you grow in your career, you are going to okay, I'm going to keep it here, right? I'll remember. So the thing is that similar things happen to everyone, and the lessons are very similar. So the theme of your program today is progress, not perfection, and I'm a firm believer in that. For me, it is very important to participate, to get into something and then kind of reckon what it means. And that has been my principle throughout life. I'll tell you how this happened. I mean, small little anecdotes, and then you will, kind of relate to what, in fact, similarities can be drawn from the previous lecture to what I have to say. So it is from a different perspective. So the journey started as a healthcare professional, not as a technology person, and which I am to this day. And this is my college. So it is a small college, not small. It is a government medical college, good, well reputed. Good doctors across the world are practicing from this college. So I'm very proud to be a alumni of this college. So now what happened while I was still in college, I was, I graduated in 1984, and in 82, which is 2 years before I graduated, I got married to an army officer. So, the world changed. But anyway, so, I, I think I made the most of whatever came my way. And in 82, so I got married. 84, I was supposed to get an admission into a specialization, which I got. I got one of the most coveted branches. I got admission to MD medicine, but at the same time, my son was born. So within 7 days of completion of my internship, I'm there, trying to juggle between very, very taxing kind of routine and a child. And I think this story actually rings true with a lot of women here. So I'm sure the youngsters who are the men who are here also would relate to it through some family member of theirs. So anyway, 82 we get married. 84 the child is born, and then I move with my husband, and the location is Samba in Jammu and Kashmir. Now what do you do there? So anyway, I started doing a little free, honorary work with the army medical inspection room, things like that. Little things which were, building blocks, I would say. They were not inconsequential. They were just building blocks. And then I'll show you a picture of a makeshift clinic, which I founded. And at that early stage in my career, so 1985, and I put up a small clinic in a bazaar in a village called Palawala on the Indo-Pak border, 5 kilometers from the border. And at the marketing was, somebody who takes a dholak and goes around the village telling people that there is a new doctor in town. And that was marketing, and people started thronging the clinic because a medical director, doctor who is a lady doctor is a rare commodity in those parts. Nobody ever had seen a lady doctor, and therefore a lot of ladies, lot of children, lot of others kept thronging, and the clinic started doing great business at 5 rupees a consultation. So, I mean, it was, and yet it brought a lot of satisfaction that, things were moving, and people were appreciating the work that I was doing. So every stage, I mean, you don't know which direction your journey is going to take you to, but every stage is important. Every day, every stage, if you do justice to it, if you're honest with your work, it adds to the whole journey, and it is a stepping stone to the final journey, which actually is not there. That's just a mirage, that there is some final journey. So having married an army officer, then the next thing was, I needed a career of my own, and the logical thing to do was join the army. So joined the army in 1987, and as a captain. So went through the rigors of army training. So it was, route marches and BPET and carbine firing. I was pretty bad at all of that. But anyway, scraped through, became an officer in the Indian Army. And my first posting was Assam, Tezpur. And this was a base hospital. What army teaches you is actually, see, these are anecdotes which are little, they seem humorous, but they have a lot of lessons to give you. And what army teaches you is that you're not just a doctor. You are also an officer. You're a leader of men. You are responsible for wherever you are. So those lessons are very precious today. When I look back, they made a lot of difference to my life. There's a lot of grooming that comes. There's a lot of discipline that comes. There's a lot of you have to be able to take decisions on the go. You have to be able to actually since you're an officer, there are men who are reporting to you. So you're supposed to be able to command that respect, and you have to know how to do that. So, how army hospitals work is you have got one doctor at night who is for that night, that doctor is the commandant of the hospital. So if there is somebody breaches discipline, anything happens at night, you can put that person behind bars, you can do what you have to do, but you have to do it. You have to react to the situation. And they teach you not only to do your clinical work, which you are expected to do. You will have to deal with the snake bite. You will have to deal with somebody who steps on a mine, comes back with mine blast injuries. You have to deal with people who have normal appendicitis. You have to deal with fevers. You have to deal, you have to see an OPD of 200 people. But from that OPD of 200 people, you have to be able to pick up the person who really needs the immediate attention. So it gives you a lot of confidence when you have gone through that grind and you have actually lived that life. You get confidence to deal with a lot of situations, clinical and non-clinical, both. And this does not come without going through that journey, because you can't buy this experience. You can't do anything to learn without having gone through that. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Again, I'm without the mic. So I hope you can hear me. Okay. So this is just a little. So what I'm doing actually is taking you through a pictorial journey of my career, and at the same time explaining to you how what each picture is signifying, and so what lessons I have drawn from that journey. So this is, of course, I'm getting promoted to the rank of major. So after say 6 years in the army, you are promoted to major because you already have an antedate seniority when when you join the army as a doctor. So this is the commanding officer and the 2 IC who are putting the rank. So that is what it is. Well, I spent 10 years in the army, and it was a very enriching experience. But what I feel is that, this is my thought, that when you start to repeat yourself and it becomes, when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, then it is time to start looking for something new to do. And at a certain, so this is of course my husband and myself, and we have 2 children. So my children also might be older than some of you, many of you, and at around once I had completed about 10 years in the army, I was posted to a field location, and my son was in class 10, and then it was a decision to make. My husband is an infantry officer. He keeps going to field locations. Whether I would also want to keep going to field locations, and what would happen with their children. So the decision was mine that, okay, here, this is enough, 10 years, and I quit. Then you quit, fine, but then again, you are thinking there is more to it. This is not where you want to finish off. You have so much more in you. So, 2001 we moved to Pune. My first job was a job with a hospital called Inlax and Budrani Hospital, and I joined as a emergency medical officer. Not happy at all. 1 month down the line, I went to Jahangir Hospital somehow. I met the medical director there. He had introduced me to the CEO. So the CEO was doing something. He looks up and says, "Will you look at medical administration?" Without having a clue what is medical administration, the answer was, why not? So, when I hear the previous speaker, it sounds so close to what experience I had. So, and the answer was, why not? And so started another phase in the journey, and it was healthcare management and healthcare administration. So I did a post-graduation from Symbiosis Institute of Health Sciences, in healthcare management and in medical legal systems. And then this another thing that happened around the same time is Indian hospitals were not aware of the concept of healthcare quality. There were some hospitals which had gone for ISO, but there was no accreditation system in India. And in 2005, there was a system which was founded by Quality Council of India, and this was called National Accreditation Board for Hospitals. Again, heard about it in a conference, went for some orientation, and suddenly I find that there is I could apply for assessorship. Applied, became assessor in the early days of NABH, and then I became a principal assessor with NABH. Now this gave me another fillip, another step up. That there were very few people who at that time knew what healthcare quality was about. So I approached Ruby Hall Clinic from Jahangir Hospital. I approached Ruby Hall Clinic, and Jahangir Hospital was kind of dilly-dallying, and they were not able to, take a decision whether they want to go for accreditation. So I came to Ruby Hall in 2008, and I told them, if you want to go for it, I will take you there. So yeah, initially, the thing is whether she's actually will she be able to execute? But anyway, they gave me the chance, and I'm so grateful for it. Ruby Hall became the first hospital to get accreditation, 32nd in Pune, and in the country it was 32nd, and which is a good thing by any milestone. And well, this is our leadership team, the nursing head. This is one of the board members. He's the founder of Ruby Hall, a very great man called Dr. KB Grant, and the CEO of Ruby Hall, the chief managing trustee now of Ruby Hall, Dr. PK Grant. And so we presented Dr. Grant on his 90th birthday with the accreditation certificate, and it was a new high. Importance of this was that there was a different environment in Ruby Hall. When I entered Ruby Hall, there was nothing called an SOP. So we started from scratch. What is SOP? People didn't know. So SOPs were written, policies were written, they were implemented, there was monitoring, so a whole new environment grew in the hospital. There was so much team building. People, they were full of, from the Aya or the lady on the wards, the helpers, the attendants, right up to the consultants. So mind you, it was not an easy journey. Like she said, I was among the most qualified of doctors who thought they were no less than God, but I was able to convince them that you are supposed to sign your consent form. You're supposed to give certain antibiotics because the antibiotic sensitivity in the hospital shows this pattern. And I earned a lot of respect in the bargain. That even the people and that respect actually is there till date. That a complete overhaul or a complete change was brought about in the hospital. And the hospital became accredited, which it is till date, and it is a big asset to the hospital because the hospital gets a certain standing. A lot of revenue comes through this as well, because without this you cannot apply for certain empanelments, insurance, overseas empanelments, and also government empanelments. So this is my contribution to Ruby Hall, and basically what I try to do is, to every place I go, I want to lay one small stone which is mine, so that I can always look back and say, yes, this is what I did, and that is what is my high. From Ruby Hall, again, things were like, there were repetitive things happening. You've already achieved that. The same thing has to be maintained, nothing new to do. And then the next thing was I moved to this hospital called Sakra World Hospital in Bangalore. And this is the first Japanese hospital in India. It's totally Japanese owned. At that time, Kirloskars were part of it, but now it is only Toyota and Seacom group of hospitals, Japan. Again, a new experience. They were kind enough to, kind of show us the healthcare system in Japan, because Seacom Group has 18,000 beds in Japan. They run 18,000 beds in Japan. So they took us around, they showed us their rehabilitation centers, their home healthcare, hospitals, the tertiary care hospitals and so on, their elderly care facilities. And so that little idea was born. We should look at home healthcare because there is no such thing in India. And this is just some little, they took us around, Japan, Tokyo, then places like Nagoya where they showed us TPS in action, the Toyota plant, the Toyota production system, and so on and so forth. And it was again an enriching journey, without which I wouldn't be where I am. Meanwhile, Jahangir Hospital came up to me and called me back here. So came back as their director of strategy and medical strategy and development, and again contributed by bringing in many new sort of initiatives like integrated network of hospitals and things like that, where smaller hospitals were linked to Jahangir Hospital, so that they get benefit, and Jahangir Hospital also builds up a kind of a funnel for reference. So this was in Jahangir Hospital, and then I left Jahangir Hospital in August 2017, and Sunburst Healthcare was born on 1st of November 2017. Basically, again, not knowing what I'm going to do, never having run a company, having no concept of any kind of business, never had seen business in my life, but I was interested and I took it from there. So we set it up. We did a lot of all the compliances were put in place. We registered as a startup. In fact, we applied to the Inter-Ministerial Board. We became tax-free for 3 years. We initially started out as a consulting firm. So basically, we started with healthcare management consulting because that is what I knew. But back of my mind was always that we have to get into home healthcare. So in July 2018, we said, okay, now we will start that journey of home healthcare. So home healthcare has been, of course, again, a very different kind of journey, and I will take you through that. This is, of course, a new milestone in my career. Bajaj FinServ Health came by, and I became part of it. Again, not knowing how I would be contributing, but I was happy to contribute anyway. And it has been, again, one of the most vital pivoting events in my journey. So this is the corporate office of Sunburst Healthcare. It is in Kalyani Nagar. And we offer these services. So what is home healthcare? Home healthcare means anything which is healthcare which can be offered at home is home healthcare. So it is not directed towards any age group. It is not for any particular type of patients. It is for anybody. What I felt is that people go to hospitals for reasons that they need not go to hospitals for. You need a follow-up, you go to a hospital. You are basically, you just need a checkup, you can get that checkup done at home. You need a doctor's consultation, you can also have the doctor coming home. You can, of course, everybody gets lab tests done at home and they receive their reports at home. So what we plan to do, how we positioned ourselves is that we are an end-to-end home healthcare company. So patients who are post-discharge, who are for end-of-life care, who are for post-surgical care, who need rehabilitation, so various things. I'll just give you a few instances how this is important. 10 o'clock at night, I get a call. There is a terminal cancer patient, the catheter has come out. This person could be one of our family. How do you address it? So we were able to send a doctor home and get the catheter placed. The patient could not have been moved to hospital, or it would have been very, very cumbersome moving the patient, calling an ambulance, moving the patient to hospital, doing this, doing that. Old man, 80 years old, needs 3 injections in a day, 6 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock. How are you going to do it? It's nearly impossible. We could do it. So these are real life situations which come about. Terminal cancer patient has to be moved to Amritsar from Pune. There is no one, the airline is refusing to take the patient unless there is an ICU doctor, ICU qualified doctor with the patient. So these things happen, and to be able to deliver those services is what makes us keep going, because we are able to deliver all these services. Old man, denture has become loose. Now what do you do? How can you take him to? He cannot even walk. So the dentist goes home and does that thing. So there are so many applications, and there has to be somebody who is able to provide it, and we do it. And that is what is important, because you can make a difference to somebody's life. So anyway, from here started the little technology piece. We were doing everything offline. We learned the job. Actually, I had no inkling as to what is home healthcare. So again, jumped into it, then started kind of figuring out what is home healthcare. We figured it out pretty well. We are well known in Pune for home healthcare now. And in fact, I think the only major organized home health player at the moment in Pune. So people, once we started doing that, then we thought now it is time to think of technology, because without technology, you will be nowhere, and our reach will improve with technology. And anyway, we have a dream of going pan-India. Again, don't know how we will do it, but we will. So the thing is that technology, we put it together. We actually have a web portal. It is called Health Access. And on that, we have 3 apps, the doctor-facing app, the caregiver-facing app, and the patient app. So all of you, I would urge you at some point, try to check out the technology, because you are technology experts, I am not. The technology is called Sunburst Viva. The app is called Sunburst Viva. It is live now on both Android as well as iOS. So you can enter your details and see how it looks, and give us some feedback about it. But it is live, it is functioning. Patients are able to register themselves, upload their documents, book services, buy services, and also get teleconsultation appointments. They can do the doctor can do the teleconsultation on the app and can give an e-prescription. The caregivers also can register themselves, and therefore, there is when the patient is assigned a caregiver, he can see who is the caregiver assigned, and his details, the phone number, the whatever it is, Aadhaar, this, that, whatever. So a baseline technology is in place, and so I started adding that health tech entrepreneur. I'm nowhere near health tech, but anyway, at least we have a technology in place, and we are going to build on it, and we are going to someday have people like you working with us, and I'm sure things will happen. Again, don't know how, but yes. So this is the app as it looks. This is the login screen of the app, and yeah, just a little bit about the international conferences where I spoke, And there is a conference in Vienna which took place in 2017 where I spoke about pharmacy processes re-engineering. This is that conference. Then a conference in Tokyo where I spoke, and this is just before joining here, where I spoke on digital technology transforming and disrupting healthcare. So it was like, again, why you get into something is it's strange. It's all destined. So yeah, this is that conference. Got some awards along the way. I had a picture of this one, so I just kept this. So of course, my story is incomplete without my family, and this is my family. So I'm a grandmother of 3, and so this is the family. And what I learned along the way, this is important. So I'm not, saying it in the same words, or I have not put it like that. But you would draw a lot of similarities with what the previous speaker spoke about. So my thought is, be open to new ideas. Never go with a closed mind. Just hear people out, and you never know how you will figure out a new path. Keep learning always. Be honest to your chosen work. Whatever you have chosen, then give it your 100%. Say yes to new opportunities. So first is a yes, and then what does it mean? And then don't take yourself too seriously. The world is full of bright people, I know. So that is there. And the canvas should always be big. So one should always think, go as far as you can. And yet, the best is yet to come. So now what we have started to do is we have started to look for, to create a good pitch deck and then go to investors. And you never know, we might become a unicorn in the years to come. I'm myself doubtful, but yes, why not? And so to laugh often and much, this is my guiding philosophy. To win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a better place, whether by a healthy child or a garden patch or a redeemed social condition. And to know even one life has breathed easier because you lived, that is to have succeeded. This is a quote from Emerson. So this is very close to my heart, so I thought I would share it. Thank you very much. And if there are questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions?
Yeah. Then,
So, when it comes to home health care, what is the biggest problem you have faced today?
So, we are servicing the entire length and breadth of Pune. So, if a patient is in Hinjewadi or Kodwa or Vasboli or what have you, so we kind of, our attempt is to service that entire length and breadth of Pune. In fact, I forgot to tell you that we also took a franchisee in Mumbai. So, Mumbai we are live, active. Now, the thing is, home healthcare means the person has to go home. And there are certain situations where you actually physically only can do it. It is not possible to do it from, online or some such thing. So this is a complete mix of technology and offline work. You can't do it without that. So having the right kind of people in different locations is what is challenging, which means first selecting those people, seeing to it that they deliver. And also because we don't meet like that, very often. In fact, during COVID, we were hardly meeting people. So to sell them our ideology, what we think, to sell it to that little caregiver. Now this caregiver has never seen me, she doesn't understand what I think, but to be able to sell to her that, you have to do this work like this, and this is what I expect from you, and why you should be doing it. In that brief conversation that I have, I think that is most important. So my thoughts to get across to her so that she performs the work as per my my standard, and we have been able to do it to a large extent. Here and there are people who don't match up to it, but we do it to a large extent.
Any more questions?
Thank you. All the best to everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We would like to felicitate you.
If somebody has taken some pictures, please send it up there.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll send it out.
Yeah.
One more, please. 3, 2, 1, smile.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Well, for next session of this event, I would want to introduce you all to Namrata More, who is a co-organizer and ambassador of GDG and WTM Pune, a technical product manager at Bajaj Finserv Health, a product enthusiast, woman developer, academic graduate speaker, and a mentor. And also, I would want to introduce you all to Pranoti, who is a tech maker ambassador for the Pune chapter. She is a community leader since 2017. She has 11 years worth of experience in Java, Angular, and multiple stacks. Right now, she is working as the role of senior consultant at Infosys.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the introduction.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. So, how are you? So, is this your first event, or so? How many of you have is coming for the Women Tech Maker meetup first time? That's nice. And anyone have attended any previous meetup or the GDG event earlier? So, I'll introduce myself. So, I'm Pranoti Nandurkar, and I'm a GDG and Women Tech Maker organizer for Pune chapter. So, in 2017, 15-17, we started this community, Women Tech Makers. So, what is our goal? So, it is to empower women in the tech. So, we give a platform for them to encourage them and give a visibility to showcase their knowledge. Yeah, so Namrata, I'll introduce Namrata as well. So I was just talking sometimes back. She was just an attendee like you, and she volunteered with us, and now she is a Women Tech Maker ambassador, just like me. So I just wanted you to tell. So we are the community to produce more and more leaders, and not the just employees. So anything, Namrata, you would like to share?
Yeah, sure. So I'd say my journey started, as she said, my journey started like attendee, like you all. And I literally came to one of the event. It was a TensorFlow event, and I came in just for swags and food, to be very frank. And it used to be, I was a student, I was in my first or second year, and it was like weekends है, so we need to party. शाम को party है, तो दिन में क्या करेंगे? So we used to say कि ठीक है, event है GDG का, let's go and see. We went for the first time. We really liked it. Obviously, the swags and the food and the tech talks as well. Those were really nice. Second time, it was a fire-based summit. So this way, the technologies, like there were different technology events going on, and we were surprised to see. Since I was not from tech background in my college, I was surprised that only attending these events also made me actually go into those technologies at least thoda thoda, and I was using that in my interdisciplinary project somehow. and I was at least understanding कि क्या कर रहे हैं वो. And then I tried for internships. Via communities only I got my first internship. Via community only I got my first external project. So so that's why the title is growing along with the community. So it's like when you get something from the community from someone, you tend to give it back. So after this, I've also so currently I'm a technical product manager. How I came into technical product manager is because I learned product design, and after learning then that when I realized कि मुझे किसी और से community से tech सीखने मिला है, let's share what I know. So then I started, applying to be a speaker in some of the events, and then whatever knowledge I had as a product designer, I started to applying, and they accepted. Like initially, I used to apply, and they used to accept my applications for being a speaker in Day Fest and all. अभी ऐसा होता है कि once you go in the community, you start speaking, you start sharing your experiences. People come to say, maybe if someone has been an attendee and they like your session, they say that it was a nice session. Can you give in another place as well? So I think I just say that when you come to a physical event, just network with people, talk to people of whatever you're doing, whatever you are want to do. Look out for internships if you're a student. Look out for projects, open source projects, even if you're a professional. And just look out for exploring more things. That is what I learned from community, and all the organizers like Pranotiti, Mahavir sir, Sapna sir. They've always been guiding around. So I think, yeah.
Thanks, Namrata. So I would like to know from you guys. So what you are expecting from us, or what you are expecting from this event?
Any other event, yeah.
Any other event or GDG community? Yeah. Yeah.
So actually, my story is really similar to what Namrata just mentioned. I tried to apply for the technical scholarship 2 years ago when I was in college, and to a surprise, I made it to the test, but I was not able to clear that. And what that helped me with is 2 interviews with Google. Though I couldn't crack it, but now I know how things work, and that's where the start is. So what I'm expecting with the professional is, though I'm here just for another couple of months because I'm going to pursue my master's in US. So even though I'm here for just 2 months, I hope that I'm able to attend events. The most part of what I want to do is what she mentioned, which is networking, to be able to connect with more people, because that's how you ring the bell of something new you can do. So pretty much networking and learning from people's stories, because when you hear somebody, you realize how similar it can be to your own story, which is
That's so true. Yeah, and
yeah, so I have always wanted to join women techniques, and I couldn't. So it made me a bit sad to realize that I wasn't able to, and so I started exploring elsewhere. So I was able to join women data science. I was able to join Sweet, where I'm at a good post now. I feel that was always a networking. So I'm pretty much expecting to meet new people, work on new projects.
That's amazing. I just wanted to share a small thing. Like she said, when now she's going for masters in US, right? So this doesn't go waste anyway, because when you are in a community, these communities are so much connected. Like WTM is global. So if someone goes to now, one of our organizer, Aditi Soni, she is also organizer in WTM Pune. Now she got H1B and she went to US. She's not here right now. She also contributed in our stuff organizing it. And WTM US when they had an event, a physical event, she was able to go there as well, saying that she's an ambassador, she's a member of WTM. So this is what happens when you join a community, you get invitations all around the globe. So even if you go there and there's an event, you can say I've attended one event in Pune and I know someone. You get connected to people. You may get someone there who has already been in Pune community before. So that is what I love of it. Even if you attend an event in any city, I've once been to Bangalore, for some other work, and I had 2-3 hours. I just searched on Meetup if there's an event, and I went to the event and sat there. You get to meet people, and you understand that kahin na kahin we all are connected. So that is something I really feel good about community.
Anyone else? Yeah, anyone else want to share? So why they are here? So everyone has their weekends, right? So they are spending almost 6-7 hours here. So there must be something, right? So would like to know from like every one of you, but if anyone can share. कोई बोल नहीं रहा है. Yeah, you have to be more open to express yourself. That's how communication works. So if I come and Namrata, I'll say, hi Namrata, and I say just like this. Communication won't happen like that.
Yeah.
She's just listening, I'm just talking. It doesn't work like that.
You have to initiate it.
Yeah, you have to initiate the communication, and you have, if you want to success, right? So everyone wants success in their life. Who doesn't want? Raise a hand. Raise a hand who doesn't want success, prosperity in their life. Who wants it? So who wants success? Everyone, right?
Yes.
So you want to communicate. You want to expand your network. So now who is going to tell why they are here? Yeah, it's fine if you tell us we are here for pizza, we are here for food, we are here for snacks. Fine, anything.
Anjali, she's also from our company. She's also been in communities in Chennai, VIT. So maybe she can also talk
Yeah.
about it.
It's working. It's working.
You can just
Hi, welcome. I hope this is working. No?
You can just talk. Yeah, that's fine.
Welcome to our office. I hope you really like it. It's our new offices. I'm from the same company, from Bachelor of Health, and as Samrita said, I'm also from a triple E background. So I am from VIT, Vellore, and all my life I've spent with circuits and all. I work as a product manager here. So then the kind of the same story if you listen multiple times and then you realize, okay, people are making up stories by this point of time. It's not how it works. Generally, how it happens is you just realize that you're not at the right place. So when I was in my first year, second year, my father is an electrical engineer. That's how I get into it. My father is like, cool thing, you should try and all. So I started with electrical engineering. And the one thing which I ask people to tell is basically if you're starting something, just finish it off. So if I would have left electrical, say in 2-3 months, I would never get to know what is in it. So maybe after a few years, I'll be like, maybe I don't know enough. And that's why I left it. So I learned this. I joined this car racing company. I've finished the process, and then I realized that was not something I wanted to do for say few more years. So I jumped to software development. So how do you switch between things? For example, if you're in college and you're into some other domain, so how do you switch? You talk to people, right? Because if you want to do something, there's always someone out there who has done it. And you might not copy the whole process, but you just learn through the experiences. So that's how communities come into picture. You just join certain Slack groups, figure out, stalk them on LinkedIn. It's very important. The best skill you can get is stalk people on LinkedIn, learn how to do this. The better you are, it works in interviews, in getting the job, in networking, so to say. And then you ask them that, maybe I'm interested in something that, as the previous speaker has said, so find the common ground. Maybe someone has done electrical and wanted to switch to software development. Maybe someone wants to speak something just like you. Maybe someone is organizing something, you just want goodies. That's a very good enough reason to join anything. Take the goodies. Basically, we have goodies, right?
Yeah.
So just take the goodies, don't go without it. And then you figure out what you want to do. So I joined to software development. I did this for a year. I have been to Women Tech Makers Scholarship. I got the scholarship basically, so I now know the connect. Yeah. Don't feel sad. It's okay. Yeah. Sure. So I got the scholarship. I got into say Microsoft Student Learning Program and so on. And then, as Namrata said, if you are into a community, you just have this strong urge to give it back. So then you talk to more people, and then you'll be like, okay, this is how it works. And then from there, you learn a lot of things, software development. Then I moved to products, marketing, business, and then I got just job. Thankfully, I hope the HR is not there. So that's how you get it. That's how you learn throughout the process. So if at any point of time you want to switch, you feel the very first step is to acknowledge that you're not at the right place. Second is you figure out what you want to do. You connect with people via communities, via LinkedIn, anywhere, and then you follow the process. Okay, this is something which is happening in me. this is something the other person has done, and how can you like have a win-win situation, and you just feel the need to give it back. So communities have helped me get the job, if that's a concern you are lacking. You can do a lot of other things, and yeah, I hope you are like successful, or you can reach out to any one of us here. So as Namrita said, if you have come to a physical meetup, network with as many people as you can, and it's good to stalk them beforehand so that you have like questions in mind after the event. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Anjali. Thank you so much. Anjali's always been like, I think our connect was also via LinkedIn, via communities, and then I got to know she's in the same organization. So we vibe a lot. So that was one thing. Also, if someone of you can share your stories, share how you feel, what you want from us, we have special goodies for the ones who share because no one's speaking. Yeah, you're getting one. Yeah.
So basically, why I feel that we should attend events, or why I personally attend events, is because I have an urge to understand what is currently going on, or what are the buzzwords are. When you go and you hear like, "Ha, AI chal raha hai, ML chal raha hai, it's a blockchain chal raha hai." But how are you going to apply? Like we saw how she had seen there is a gap that we have to, home service rehna chahiye, and how it is being done, and she took it up and then she did that. So when you see how technology can be driven and how it can be utilized, so I wanted to know about it. Like when you attend events, you get to know, right? So there are people like you shared your story, you are sharing your story. So when you understand, you get to know, okay, where should I work with? In the same lines, what I do is like I attend events, or sometimes I join startups and I understand how they are working and how can I use this technology over there and how can I use this technology. You mentioned about TensorFlow and 5 by 7, so I thought that I'll attend. But rather, what I did was I couldn't. So I just watched a few videos and then my bed got. Then I couldn't learn about it. So if I want to learn, then I have to attend. I have to know, and that is why I attend events. So that is the main thing I want to.
That's better. Yeah, I think after attending, you also connect with new people, and think that is why then you'll continue that thing.
Exactly. So when you like, if I'm here and I'm able to talk to you guys, then basically I can understand what are the projects or something on which you are working on.
Huh.
So then you get to learn more, right? Like that is the main reason.
Yeah, we even had done like during COVID times, we had done a COVID dashboard ka project in which we had created a dashboard and we were helping our people for like COVID, mein whoever needs blood, whoever needs airbags, so whatever people, even food donations are happening, so a lot of things. And this project, like the dashboard was created within the community, only few developers, few designers came together and created it. These things are not monetary, this is just about networking. So but
networking and
learning
and like finishing their skills.
Correct.
Because say for example, I'm a Java developer. I'm not getting any work in Angular, but I wanted to learn. But I'll just go and just search what is this. Yeah, I'll see what are all the theoretical aspects. But when I wanted to switch my career into new technology, I wanted in and out everything, right? So this is a great platform to we can collaborate. So we also have a hackathon. So you can come to the hackathons, create a team, and by this as well you can expand your technology stack.
Correct.
Yeah, sure. I can pass. So
This is working.
yes,
You can put it on.
Hello. Hello everyone, my name is Vaishnavi. I made my first open source contribution to a program called User Portal. And right now I am an admin at an organization called Untitled Chapter. And basically I'm here because the GDS in my college is pretty dead and this was the only event happening. And women tech makers, networking, just like that. That's very good.
Yeah, I think people are back now. People are back now. I mean, virtual events, we were not able to actually, get that feeling of a community event, right? Everyone is just chatting on that right side ka chat box. Kitna chat karoge? This is so good. He last month, right? Yeah, it was a Flutter.
No, not last month. A year ago. I don't.
Okay.
I sat down
Huh.
and I was watching, but since there was no physical connect, you lose
Virtual ones, right?
So when you come to physical events, I think senior people also try to help you and fight you. That's the best thing I personally feel about personal events.
Right.
So like experienced people share their story, share how you can do this. So
Huh.
somebody who's starting to was very clueless, but somebody who guides you.
Correct. Yeah. It's same for all, I feel.
So this is another question for you. Since you mentioned you are from a non-technical background and you went to product. So what was your key? Like how did you know I want to go to product design?
Okay, so I'll tell you. Initially, I was in mechanical. Then I took a minor robotics. I really liked robotics. Robotics, mein, we were taught AIML, wherein I used TensorFlow for one of my project. That time, I was doing an internship with Mahavir sir. So he's organizer. So that's what I connected with him. I got an internship. Then I did an internship with him, and I used TensorFlow in my project. That is when I started understanding it. I think this is more interesting that what my major branch is teaching me, that is mechanical. So that's why I started learning this more. And in the communities you get to connect with people like GDEs, Google Developer Experts. जो बाहर आप अगर उनके पास जाते हो, they won't have that much time, they're very busy. But if you go by a community या यहाँ sessions में, you get their accessibility very, like if the speakers that we have right now, if you have any questions, you go and lunch and talk to them. They have time for you because they've reserved that time for you. Itna time बाद में नहीं मिलेगा, right? So that is the thing. That is how I think I grew. So I went to different day fests as well. I went to Ahmedabad, I went to Kozhikode. So there also I met a few GDs which are in connect with me right now also. So they even today they support me. If I have something, I can ping them, I can call them. So I think that is how I explored.
So all these communities are very closely connected.
Very closely connected.
Yeah. So you can go to Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Mumbai. You will find the GDG chapters and the women chapters. Not even India. So you want to go to US, right? So you can connect over there, and it's very easy to become a organizer there because there are less people, less women in technology who chose this path, and very easy to get the access, all the accesses. Yeah. So anyone else want to share something? No. So are you open for networking also? Yes. Okay. So we will be having one workshop after lunch. So it would be very good.
It's an activity, and
yeah, it's activity.
Yeah.
And you'll be getting very insightful. How should you grow your career, and what are all the skills you should possess? So I'm very sure after that activity, you will like we will be telling you stop now, stop talking. Okay.
yeah, I think that is our aim now.
Yeah. Okay, don't worry if you are not willing to talk now, you will talk there. We are sure about that.
Yeah, just participate in the activity.
Yeah, but you have to participate from your open heart so that you can learn. At food is that food is there or food is there. So yes, everyone is hungry.
I was checking.
I think it'll be over in 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Then
Yeah.
anyone else want to share anything?
Yeah, there's a platform. You can come here and talk if you want to.
Yeah, this is a very good platform. Otherwise, you won't be getting 50-60 people to listen to you.
Can you
Yeah.
tell more about what is GDG and all this?
Yeah, so GDG is a community backbone. Yes, so GDG is a community backbone by Google, and Women Tech Maker is also the community. But Women Tech Maker focus more about the women empowerment and like tech diversity in technology. We basically have different events all over the world and all over the year to showcase new technologies like Flutter, Angular, machine learning. So we arrange the workshop of it It's just to let people know what Google are doing and how it can be implemented in their projects. Yeah.
I think you can go to this URL and join. Yeah.
So basically, I am also an engineer. I graduated 13 years ago. And then I took the maternity gap in between my career. And so after that, I joined a new career, new company, and I am doing it. But in between that, because my maternity leave was too long, almost 6 to 7 years, I found it hard to get into the industry again because of many reasons. So I did through it. Now I have a good experience in the company. But there are many of my friends who are maybe not in cities like Pune, Bangalore, and because of some other reasons they couldn't get into the industry. And now they are saying like their kids are in a folder, they are going to schools, and now they wanted to do something. They are really intelligent and so but they don't know how to do this. So using this community, I want to identify how I can help them, those who are really wanted to get back into this, because I might do this because I was in Pune, but they are not sitting in Pune. They are in some small villages or maybe small towns, but they are intelligent and they wanted to do something, because nowadays earning this, even if I'm not a family cannot earn, even if one person is earning. How this community will maintain that I want to.
Yeah, so you are talking about the access, remote access, right? So we do have a platform called
GDG.community.
no, so this is a community where you can connect. We will be sharing new resources, but we do have a code labs available with a Google. Like Google provides very good code labs with a Flutter, Angular, Google Cloud, and all of the Google technologies. So you can just search out the code labs, and these code labs are the small tasks, right? So you have to say, for example, you have to do the Firebase. So you have to install the Firebase, then install their service, then you have to create some gadgets in it. So whatever the technologies, say machine learning, even TensorFlow. So for each of these technologies, they do have a code labs, and these are very small code labs. So you can learn with a with actual practical knowledge. So it's not just theory and what you say, just theory, just read it and you just get it to know. So yeah, so this community can they can use this code labs. And we are nowadays, when we are after COVID, we are coming into the hybrid model as well, right? So now as well we are YouTube, the event is streaming live, so they can definitely go through all these resources and the materials. And we will be making sure that we will be sharing it in our social media. So they want to connect with us on the social media, because we are posting everything on our social media channels.
Yeah. And even in remote areas.
Addition to that, have you heard about ThoughtWorks? Have you heard about ThoughtWorks company? ThoughtWorks. Okay, so that particular company run a similar program for those, particularly for the women, those who have taken the career break because of be it marriage or be it maternity leaves, and if they want to come back in the tech again, so they run a program like WAPSI. It is very a wonderful program. You can check on their website itself. If you need more details, we can connect after this event. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, even with the ThoughtWorks, I think IBM and Tech Mahindra, most of the companies nowadays are doing these exercises and having. But in ThoughtWorks, what I observed is it's not just like a come to the interview. They have a workshop. Those who want to connect through WAPSI, they teach them the latest technology and analyze accordingly, and then proceed then for the interview. So it's not a direct recruitment at ThoughtWorks. That is.
To add to what Sir said,
Yeah.
there's the second element. So they have a program like that for women who have a career break, so they can join their course. And they have a career fair specifically for women who are the break. So that will be a very good opportunity. I will share the link with you personally.
Yeah, look, Look, the power of community.
A lot of companies are doing this program. And actually, we do have access to a lot of these kind of companies, so we can share those with you if somebody is looking for that. So this is kind of how probably you can say you get benefit out of community.
Yeah.
This is good, but what I observe is that many of my friends, they lost that confidence, like to come into that at this age and at this stage. So the first thing we will do is how this community will help to build their confidence back. And if it comes that back, then everything is possible. So the first thing, how the community will help in boosting that is what I will do.
Yeah, so I like to share, like, age is just a number. Yeah, and anyone can learn and reskill themselves at any point of time. So if you see this event, how this event is designed, it's not on the one technology or particular technology. It's just for the empowerment and the socializing and getting the leadership inside and telling that you need to be you need not to be perfect to have a progress in your life. So you can start with small things. You can start with not perfect things as well. But you need to progress somewhere and some. Okay. You want to share something? So he's again a GDG organizer, Mahavir.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Good. So myself, Mahavir Mutta, I lead the Google Developers Group ecosystem here in Pune. So since almost 8 to 9 years now. So started with maybe 2-3 people or maybe around 10 people. Now we are kind of one of the largest tech ecosystem or tech community in the world. So out of maybe first 5-10 communities, we are standing there. So there was a question, why community, how community, or maybe why should I attend the events? So I'll share my experience. So earlier, when I started, I was kind of maybe a kind of Android developer, and then I was used to give sessions and maybe host hackathons and workshops and everything for different colleges, because Android was something, it was started in maybe somewhere around early 2010, and we were amongst very few Android developers in Pune, and hence I got this opportunity to join the GDG community. So what I have observed or I have learned is, so when you host or maybe when you go into community, so ideally I used to learn Android, I used to maybe read a lot of ebooks and then some YouTube videos, because YouTube videos were not available in kind of the quantity currently which it is there on the right now internet. But then so when I started maybe talking to a lot of different people, so I got to know, let's say XYZ person is having some different knowledge. Somebody has somebody has done something else. So somebody has integrated cloud in that. Somebody has developed some other widgets. So I used to get some knowledge. Doesn't matter if it is kind of a core knowledge or deep knowledge. But then some words I used to hear, and then I started maybe doing R&D journey or maybe anything on that, and then that's how I got to learn a lot of new things when I talked or maybe meet to 10 or 20, 50 odd people. So that was the thing. Basically, I could have learned that thing on internet. That's not a problem. But if I wanted to learn 10 different things, I could have spent 10 or 15 days or 20 days for that matter. But then when I discussed with a lot of different people, so it was maybe few hours time, I got to know everything. And then basically I decided maybe to go into meetup, host the different meetups. I work with GDG. I also work with Facebook. I also work with you can say different other communities, and grown them from maybe starting phase to maybe kind of few thousand members. Currently, in fact, I am probably keen to learn around the blockchain, metaverse, because these are kind of buzzwords in the industry. So what I thought is definitely there are maybe certain tools, maybe technologies, and in fact books. Everything is available online. But then I feel that it's always better to meet a lot of different people and understand their perspective, their views, their maybe expertise in that, or maybe whatever they have done so far in that. It's better to maybe at least hear viewpoints, and then I'll go home and I'll study on that or maybe research on that. So also started with community on blockchain recently, metaverse. So this is how I get to learn, and in fact I think it's the easiest and fastest way to learn a lot of things. Do you agree? How many of you agree? So would you like to share maybe your experience for today on social media, so that at least your friends, colleagues, maybe any other member from your contacts will get to learn about the new things, and probably they might also get to know about the GDG and WTM and other communities, so that as somebody has mentioned, their friends are there in the other cities, but they don't know what communities are, how they can get benefited. So this is how even your friend, family, and in fact colleagues will get benefited. And we do have access to lot of, you can say, content. So no matter whether that content is available in public or not. So there are few companies who share the content with us, which is in the beta version, which is into yet to launch version, so that they validate that in the close circle. So if you are working, fortunately, if you are working on those maybe technologies, we can share that with you, so that you can also do R&D and share your feedback on that. So a lot of beta versions we get as a community edition or community maybe R&D for R&D purpose. Other than that, we do host a lot of workshop, hackathon, code labs, a lot of things we do. And in fact, that's how you maybe enhance your skill set in the technology. Post that, we have a lot of companies in Connect, whereas in fact, our next initiative is that only. So we will be sharing the opportunities from the community to from the companies to community. And if there are some people kind of who are looking forward to maybe go for job or freelancing, or maybe contribution to open source communities, we'll probably try to give you a platform, or maybe we'll try to connect you the companies who are looking forward for the skill sets, or maybe the person or resources. So we can probably maybe do the matchmaking for you. So we'll try to help. So there are a lot of helps, and probably in fact other than knowledge and all, so you get to meet a lot of excellent people in the community. So I really, probably you can say otherwise, so basically I have meet lot of people. So we never usually meet like people from somebody like some company CEO, CTO, or VP. So it's really difficult to meet them, understand their you can say perspective about the industry, maybe their career growth, or maybe whatever they have done in their career, or maybe how they reach to that level. So it's little difficult to meet that person personally if you are an ordinary person. But if you go in a community, or if you represent some community or some company for that matter, you get access to a lot of experts. So that is something has happened with in fact almost everybody from our community. So we got to meet a lot of experts in the industry. We got to meet a lot of you can say big names in the industry. So this is something you can also probably experience if you keep attending, keep coming to meetups. And whatever so technology or maybe managerial challenges you have, probably we will try to give you somebody who can help you or assist you to solve your problem, to maybe take you to the next step. So this is something about what we did, what we are doing.
And we want you all to grow with us.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
so we would like to give a
Whoever shared their journey, as we said, we'll give some goodies to them.
yeah. So just come forward.
Come. And we so happy.
I
thought so.
Yes, just
I thought so.
No.
Yeah, you can give.
You can give.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe we can take a picture.
Yeah, just
Whoever
we can take one group photo.
Yeah, just
Just come forward.
we can take a group picture.
Yeah, group picture definitely. No? Just one by one.
one by one.
No. Just do one thing.
Any whatever.
Who is this woman? Just
One for me as well.
like share the There is no voice for organizers.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, so I think lunch is
About like in 5 minutes, just down near the gate.
yeah. So yeah,
Maybe
No,
wait.
We have 5 minutes if anybody wants to probably.
Still, if anyone wants to.
Still have one.
We have.
If someone wants to share. Okay, so addition to that, post pandemic, a lot of things has been changed, right? So
yeah, member, you have just
yeah, I'm coming to that point. So post pandemic, a lot of things has been changed. I mean, earlier we had around 200 to 300 volunteers, but now not everything is active. So we need helping hands. So if anyone interested to be a part of our community, so we'll do one thing. We'll roll out. We'll share one form link. Just fill that out and share your area of interest. I mean, be it event management or speaker management or social media management. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, even the anchors today, they both came last event. We shared a volunteer forms. They both were interested, and then they joined today as anchor. So that's how you try to win the people.
it's just a volunteering thing. And for becoming a member, you can join us on a Berry and the meetup.
This is the Baby link. You can go here and register yourself.
Yeah, and whenever we host any event, you'll be notified over there. So it's not just a registration, or we are not handling a database of members or something like that. It's just an open source and the open platform and the open community, right? So it's just you have to register over there, and you will be getting communications from our side.
So both the women techmakers and GDG?
It's the same. So women techmaker and GDG is the same. Just women techmaker focus on the women-centric activities more.
It's part of GDG.
And the ongoing applications are going for WTM Yeah, so it's just like, so she's a WTM ambassador, I'm a WTM ambassador. So if you want to start your chapter in some another city, so it is for that. So you have to figure it out, where it is not available, and you want to lead that city's chapter, then you can apply. So and and if there is already WTM chapter available, you can come as a volunteer, and definitely there are some opportunities. And like I already shared, Samrata was an attendee.
So we not only expect volunteers, but we also expect some speakers out of you. If you want to share your experience, your expertise, so we'll definitely try to provide the platform for you.
Also, we are looking for the sponsorship as well. If your organization is interested to sponsor our events in terms of food or in terms of swags or venue, just do let us know. I would suggest visit a meetup page. You get all the details over there. We have forms for volunteers, and very soon we'll roll out the form for sponsorships. And if someone wants to share their experiences, is anyone interested still to share their experience? No one.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's what
Yeah, you can come up.
So hi everyone. I'm Sajatha. So I am a UX designer. I'm currently working with a company called Cortias, which is in the market itself. So I am working as a UX designer since past 4 years. And after COVID, after lockdown, after pandemic, this is like my first offline event, which I think while we were talking, I just discussed that. So this is my first after like offline event after the pandemic, which feels great to be a part of one, because pre-pandemic, I was being like I was at least attending a lot of events where in different cities altogether, because I'm a person who kind of love to know people, learn through their experiences, grow along the way. So that's how the journey has been for me so far. And for 2 years, though I attended events online, the fun fact was always lacking. So you did not get to know people and really talk to them, really connect with them, look into eyes and get to know them. So
So that was a lacking sort of experience for sure. But today attending this event felt great. Learning through the experiences, great speaker that we basically listened to. There's a lot of, things to grow, socialize, network, and then as Namrata and as Pranati said, along the way grow. So yeah, that's why I'm here for and looking forward. Thanks for having this great event, guys.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, just wait.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much.
I think we should go for the lunch. So,
In cafeteria.
cafeteria. That cafeteria.
Pizza. Yeah, I think it's coming.
I think
Am I
it's
just
coming.
managing that? But meanwhile, in 5 minutes, some people
Huh,
can
we
see
can
it.
actually set in. Yeah, so yeah, you can enjoy your lunch, and we'll be starting at 2 o'clock.
Huh. And yeah, I think 2 to 15.
Yeah,
So
that's late.
1:19. So yeah, around 2:15. Once everyone is done, we'll start with our next session. And please be there. Don't leave. We have activities. Activities may also we can have goodies.
Goodies.
Yeah, we have more goodies to go.
So, yeah. The cafeteria is that side.
Yeah.